What if I told you that one of the biggest mistakes people make in retirement has nothing to do with investing in the wrong stock or picking the wrong fund? It's something much quieter than that. It's holding too much cash. Yeah, I know that sounds backward, but stay with me because this one changes how you look at retirement forever.
Hi, I'm Imran, the instructor of finance courses and data analyst.
Most retirees are told, keep plenty of cash just to be safe. And safety feels good. It feels responsible. It feels calm. But what nobody tells you is that too much cash can quietly destroy your retirement without making a sound. No headlines, no panic, just slow erosion. And that's what makes it dangerous. On one side, you're scared of the stock market crashing. On the other side, inflation is eating your money every single year. So you're stuck in the middle asking yourself, what's the right amount? Not a guess, not a round number, the exact amount. That's what we're solving today. Let's start with the real reason people hoard cash in retirement. It's not logic, it's memory. You remember 2008. You remember 2020. You remember watching accounts drop while bills didn't stop. So your brain says cash equals control. And emotionally, that makes sense. But here's the part nobody likes hearing. Cash feels safe, but inflation doesn't care. Inflation quietly shows up every year and says, I'll take a little off the top. 5%, 6%, over and over again. And before you know it, the money that felt safe doesn't buy what it used to. You're not standing still, you're sliding backward. And here's the real kicker. Most retirees don't notice it happening. They just feel tighter, more careful, less free. They don't connect it to cash sitting idle. They just assume retirement is supposed to feel that way. It's not. So let's reset how we think about cash. Cash in retirement is not an investment. It is not meant to grow. Cash has one job and one job only: to protect you from being forced to sell investments at the worst possible time. That's it. Once you understand that, the math becomes simple. And when the math is simple, fear starts losing its grip. Now here's the concept most people skip, and it changes everything. It's called the income gap. And once you understand this, you stop guessing forever. Retirement income does not work like a paycheck. Money doesn't come from one place anymore. You've got Social Security, maybe a pension, maybe rental income. Some money shows up whether markets are up or down. That matters. So the real question isn't, how much do I spend each year? The real question is, how much of that spending is not already covered? That difference is your income gap. Let's slow it down. If you spend $60,000 a year and Social Security covers $30,000, your real exposure isn't 60, it's 30. That $30,000 is the only part that depends on your investments. That's the part that keeps people up at night. And that's the only part you need to protect with cash. This is where people accidentally overdo it. They keep cash for the full $60,000, but they only needed protection for $30,000. So half the retirement money ends up parked, shrinking quietly, doing nothing. That's not safety, that's missed opportunity. Once you calculate your income gap, everything clicks. And now we can finally answer the big question. How much cash is enough? The answer is surprisingly boring. About 2 years of your income gap. Not 5, not 10, not as much as I can sleep with. 2. Why 2? Because history shows most market downturns recover within that window. Cash becomes your bridge, not your destination. It gives your investments time to breathe instead of being sold under pressure. So if your income gap is $30,000 a year, you're looking at roughly $60,000 in cash. That's your buffer. That's your breathing room. Anything beyond that starts working against you. And here's the part that feels uncomfortable. Holding too much cash is also a risk. It just doesn't feel scary in the moment. But inflation compounds. Longevity stretches. And suddenly, 10 years later, you're asking why money feels tighter than it should. Cash is protection, not comfort food. And where you keep that cash matters just as much as how much you keep. This money does not belong in a checking account. It shouldn't be earning nothing, but it also shouldn't be taking risk. It needs liquidity, safety, and at least a fighting chance against inflation. That usually means high-yield savings, money market funds, or short-term treasuries. Boring? Yes. Effective? Absolutely. This cash is not here to impress anyone. It's here so when markets wobble and headlines scream, you don't panic. You sip your coffee. You live your life. You let time do the heavy lifting. That peace is what this money actually buys you. Now, here's where most people stop thinking. They set up the cash bucket and freeze. They forget the rest of their money still has a job to do. Once your cash buffer is in place, everything else can finally work properly. Your remaining investments are allowed to grow, recover, and compound without being constantly drained. This is where freedom lives. Modern retirement planning isn't about rigid rules anymore. It's about flexibility. In good years, you spend a little more. In rough years, you trim just a bit. Not panic, not sacrifice, just awareness. That one adjustment dramatically increases the odds your money lasts. Cash gives you flexibility. Investments give you longevity. You need both, but you don't need extremes. And now let's talk about the fear underneath all of this. Most retirees aren't afraid of numbers. They're afraid of regret. They're afraid of running out and becoming a burden. So they hold cash because it feels like control. But control can turn into a cage. Too much cash keeps you calm today, but anxious later. Too little cash keeps you stressed today, but potentially richer later. The balance is the answer. Enough cash to handle storms. Enough growth to handle time. That's it. No drama, no guessing, just a plan. So let's lock this in. First, calculate your real income gap. Second, multiply that number by 2 years. That's your cash target. Third, keep that cash somewhere safe but productive. Fourth, let the rest of your money grow. And finally, revisit this every few years, not every headline. Listen, retirement isn't about reacting. It's about positioning. All right. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, subscribe and share with others.